For matriculants, this year's exam is almost over and the next adventure in their life story is about to begin. For the rest of the school-going gang, exams are upon you, and I make dua that Allah makes it easy for you. I greet you with the universal greeting of Islam. Peace be unto you. Our topic for this week looks at the cause and effects of Down syndrome.
According to statistics, Down syndrome occurs in 2 out of every 1,000 people born in South Africa. It is a genetic abnormality that results in an extra chromosome being formed, which then leads to various disabilities and occurs across all races.
The KZN Down Syndrome Association, we are a branch that is based at KwaZulu-Natal. We offer support to parents with families with children with Down syndrome.
Many parents find it hard to cope when discovering their children have Down syndrome, but there is help. Down Syndrome South Africa is an organization that was started to assist both people with Down syndrome as well as their family members.
We have an outreach program where we go out into the rural areas and help the families identify with Down syndrome. What is Down syndrome? How the children can be helped by taking them to the genetic clinic, and then the genetic doctor then allows the parents to go and do the necessary therapy for their children, which is the occupational therapy, the physiotherapy, and the speech therapy. Then there's also the eye testing to check if there's any problems with the eyesight, and then the hearing.
Aisha was a young mother who didn't at first understand what was happening with her son's development as a child. When he was eventually diagnosed with Down syndrome, it came as somewhat of a relief, but it required certain adjustments to their life.
Being the parent to a child that's Down syndrome isn't very different to being a parent to any other child. With Abdullah, it's been a very difficult road. Firstly, we were not aware of his condition when I was pregnant. When Abdullah was 2 months, he went into cardiac failure. So there was an emergency op that was required. The op itself was a success. The after effects, they brought him up to ICU, they set him up and they allowed me to see him. When I got in, he started flatlining. Every time that they closed him up, he went again. They realized that the only time he's okay is when his chest is open. So they took him back to theatre with an open chest, allowed me to see him. You could see the heart, you could see everything. It wasn't even covered in any way. So we've moved from that to life support for many days. We came to a point where we had to make a decision about switching off that life support. We've made arrangements for the funeral. We've done everything. Only to go the next morning, and the cardiologist there, while she was doing her rounds on the rest of the hospital, she was called on an emergency and she had to leave for the whole weekend. So that gave me 2 more days. Before she left, Abdullah's heart was 21% functional. The machine did the balance of it. When she returned on Monday, we had an 87% recovery. The doctors themselves told me that there was nothing they did to help him. So the reason I would say he's here is because of the du'as, because of everyone being there for us in our times of need, not just family and friends, but people we didn't even know.
Down syndrome is caused by extra genetic material that is present in every human body cell. It is arranged into tiny structures called chromosomes, which in turn are the building blocks in our individual characteristics.
The syndrome of Downs is characterized by extra genetic material in all the cells of the fetus or the child. All human cells have genetic material, and they're arranged in tiny structures which are called chromosomes. Now, if you look here, in the human cell, the chromosomes, there are 46 chromosomes, and they're arranged very neatly into 23 pairs of chromosomes, including a pair of sex chromosomes. And XX is a female, and XY is a male. Now, these chromosomes are critical because they are our building blocks, and they are what we are. They determine our characteristics, how we think, how we look, and how we act are all determined by our chromosomes. So you can understand if the chromosome number is increased or decreased, it's going to have a major impact on that child or on that fetus. Now in Down syndrome, there's an extra copy of chromosome number 21.
The need to educate people about Down syndrome remains great as it is quite misunderstood within communities. Down syndrome South Africa have nurses on hand who travel to remote villages and help diagnose as well as treat children.
To have a baby with Down syndrome, it's just like a new thing for you as a parent. We know that's all, if you're pregnant, you expect the normal baby. So if the doctor tells you that you're going to have the baby with Down syndrome, so you become to have a fear of the unknown. So what we do when we meet, we just counsel them emotionally, just to unpack all those questions and then to explain and to give them the good and the right information about the Down syndrome.
All of creation is a gift from Almighty Allah and should be treated with respect as well as care. People with special needs deserve extra special attention, and lending a helping hand is a reward repaid by Allah.
At An Nur the Light, we promise to take you to amazing heights, and this week we're living up to that.
Architectural technologist, community worker and successful businesswoman Rabia Kasim is well known in Laudium. Her business, established in 1990, was created as a result of many challenges she faced when starting out in the industry.
Nest Designs is basically my company. I started it in 1990. Very soon after qualifying as a draftsperson. In those days it was called draftspeople and not architectural technologists. Usually when we're designing a home, the first thing that we start off with is the client's lifestyle. Definitely the client's lifestyle, because that person, that family is going to live in that home. And the home has to work around the family and not the other way around. So their lifestyle, if they entertain a lot, so we want a lot of entertainment areas.
Rabia can be seen on building sites throughout the area on most days, and the respect she has gained from both men and women in the field is unmatched.
When I go onto site, I am the only woman on site. I haven't met or had an application from a female plumber or a female electrician or a bricklayer, you know, or a guy that does the ceilings for me. At first, I think I was met with a little bit of cynicism, but you've got to prove yourself. I think in every walk of life, it is a little bit more difficult for a woman, definitely, because there's a stereotypical view of what women are able to do. But if you teach them something, and very often I find they're doing something incorrectly, and once I've taught them to do something correctly and effectively and make their lives easier, there is a lot of respect. And then they start, you know, treating you very differently. And I think that respect is earned in every environment, not only in the building industry. So today, if I walk on site, they know me, they're familiar with me, and they'll actually call me if they have a problem on the site.
On days when Rabia is not seen on construction sites or in her drawing room, she can be found chairing the Laudium Care Services for the Aged.
About 3-4 years ago, I was approached by Adila Sunka, who is the director of a number of charitable organizations in Laudium. There was a position available on their board for Laudium Care Services for the Aged. And I was approached, you know, if I could serve the board, if I could have some input in the guiding of the organization. At that time, yes, I think it was a natural thing. One lives in the community, and it's only natural that we serve the people that have brought us to where we are today. And I started off as a board member, progressed to be a vice chairperson, and about 3 years ago, I was nominated and elected to be chairperson of Laudium Care Services for the Aged.
Rabia Kasim's contribution as chairperson and as member of the board is unique in a sense that she has brought a corporate culture, introduced a corporate culture into our organization in streamlining a lot of the administrative procedures. And I think the board has really grown more professionally.
It doesn't stop just there. Rabia holds an honors degree in psychology and is currently completing a master's in business administration.
At this stage of my life, I think I'm sort of nearing a retirement age almost, but that doesn't mean that I'm ready to retire in any way. You know, fortunately, my profession will allow me to be able to draw a plan, design a plan, a home for years to come. So I think I will continue with that, you know, for as long as I have the strength. Recently, I've noticed more and more people, younger people, looking to me for leadership, for mentorship. And I think at some point in time, I'd probably write a book, you know, to inspire, motivate other people about my experiences and how that can, you know, assist young people in achieving and being successful as people.
There's never too much that one can achieve. With the drive to succeed, Rabia continues to push herself and others, remembering to give back and to always look forward.
Street Style is up next.
Style for me is basically an individual creating their own identity. It's a personal thing for me, so the way I feel, the way I create my pieces together with clothing is vibrant, colorful, modest, comfortable.
Style to me, it's an expression of yourself, basically. It's how you would like to be perceived by others. It's how you represent yourself, and it's how you carry yourself. It's how fashion makes you feel.
I'd say style in fashion is a vital aspect to everything towards myself. Growing up, you know, as an individual, what I like to believe is that it's anything that you're comfortable within, you know.
I like colors. I don't like black, so it makes me moody. So I took a plain abaya, did my hijab differently, and just put on something more.
So the look that I'm actually going for today is a very semi-formal look. Black jeans, a boot, scarf, I'd like to call this a long top, and a casual jacket, you know, just to break it up. The colors itself are very mid-tone colors, from your lights to your darks, your grays. So basically, based on my mood, based on what I feel, based on the occasion, that's how I create a concoction of exactly what I wear.
I like to play around with combination of textiles, but today I stuck with the same, which is basically a net. And I'm wearing a dress that has a sequins top and a palazzo pants with a shiny shoe just to spice it up a bit, and obviously my turban.
Being a Muslimah in a modern society is tough because people do look at it as something foreign. So hijab is foreign to certain people, but for me it's my identity. So to keep strong to that is a challenge, but a worthy challenge.
So being a Muslim doesn't only affect the way I dress, but also the way I interact with people, how I portray myself, how I carry myself. And so yeah, it has impacted my sense of style greatly, because before I never used to wear hijab.
Islam does tell you that you should dress modestly. It does not actually tell you that, you know, that dress like this, dress like that. You know, as long as you dress in a modest way, as long as you dress in a comfortable way, as long as you dress in a respectable way.
Sure, those Joe Burgers sure are trendy and on fleek with their style. And staying in the city of gold for this week's cooking with guest chef Mehnaz.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mehnaz. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be showing you today how to make a rainbow piñata cake. I have in front of me a teaspoon of bicarb with a pinch of salt. I have 350 grams of sugar, 350 grams of flour, 500 grams or 500 mLs of buttermilk, a cup of oil, a teaspoon of vinegar, 2 eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla essence. This is my bicarb with a pinch of salt. I'm putting it in my sugar mixture. I'm going to pour the sugar into the flour. So I've got my vanilla essence, 2 eggs, a teaspoon of vinegar, white vinegar, and a cup of oil. It's a simple procedure. It's just 2 steps. I'm simply going to mix this with my hand mixer so the wet and the dry ingredients combine until they're nice and smooth. Now that that's completely smooth and nicely mixed together, I'm going to make a little well in the center of my dry ingredients so I can pour that in. I'm going to pour this as evenly as I can into these 6 bowls. The bowls have the 6 colors of the rainbow. I've used gel colors here because I find that the gel colors mix much nicer than ordinary off-the-counter food colors that you get in the store. I'm going to mix the batter with the food coloring with my spatula in the bowls till it's nice and even. So what I like about the gel colors is they dissolve almost instantly and give you a nice, smooth, bright color. As soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to pour it into my pre-sprayed lined pans. I've already mixed the six rainbow colors. I've poured them into my 6 pans. I'm going to put that into the oven. Shouldn't take too long to bake because it's very minimal batter in each pan. I would give it about 10 to 15 minutes and it'll be ready. So my cakes have been in the oven for about 15 minutes now and they're ready to come out. So I'm going to remove them. I'm going to turn them out now and wait for them to cool down to room temperature so that I can put my icing in between the layers. So I'm just going to get my turntable with my cake board so we can layer our 6 cakes onto that. I'm going to start with the purple at the bottom. Got purple. I have some pre-made cream cheese icing, which is just 125 grams of pure butter with 2 cups of sifted icing sugar and a tub of cream cheese. I'm going to pipe it over the purple just as a filling. I'm going to put my blue one on. Now at this point I'm going to cut a hole through this because we're making this into a piñata cake. So I'm just going to use my round cutter that I have here to make a hole. And I'm just going to lift that up with my spatula. Same thing with my green one. I'm going to make the hole before I place it on. Put some icing in between. And then yellow, I'm only going to cut a hole through 2 of them. That's going to be enough to put my sweet filling in the center. Now would be the step where I would add the filling into my cake. So I'm just going to take what I have in front of me and I'm just going to pour it into the hole. It's about as full as we will get. Put the yellow cake on top of the green. Some icing on top. The orange one. And the red one. I'm just going to get some extra cream cheese to add onto the sides to coat the cake with and to put on top of the cake as well. I like to use a turntable when I'm decorating my cakes. I find it easy to get around the cake. Next is the fun part, but the tricky part. I like to get my fingers dirty, and I feel like I've really worked at a cake. So I'm gonna get my sprinkles, blue ones. I wanted it to look like the sky around the rainbow, so I chose to use blue ones today. I'm gonna get a piece of greaseproof paper to lay onto the counter. And I'm just gonna drizzle all my sprinkles over this, and then I'm gonna lift up my cake and I'm just gonna chance it and roll it through. So I've laid all my blue sprinkles out. I'm gonna put my spatula beneath my cake just to lift it up. And I'm going to literally just drop it down and roll. Lift it up gently, put it back onto my cake board. It's a little bit wobbly at this point. My cake is now fully coated with my blue sprinkles. So I'm just going to put some cream cheese icing on the top now. Just enough for me to put my little meringue clouds on top and my little pre-made rainbow. Meringues around them. So I'm just adding the last of the meringues at the back of the cake. And we're done. That's my rainbow cake.
Now that cake looked almost too good to eat. The recipe for this amazing rainbow cake will be posted to our Facebook page. Time for me to bid you farewell. Until next week, I'm Mario Mukwanda. Salangantle. Assalamu alaikum.